are, let's see here. Okay, audio is on. Test, test, mic. Can you hear that?
Yep. Hello. Can you hear me?
Okay, and then there's feedback. I can hear you. All right, let's get started.
Cool.
Let's do this.
Perfect.
And so, how do you build a strong LinkedIn community? One that generates multiple revenue streams while working full-time at a unicorn startup. Let's go. Hey everyone, I'm Zen. Before we get started, let me say hi to our new subscribers, because from the bottom of my heart, this show will not exist without you. So first, I'd like to say hello to Ravish Vasan, Lady Martinez, Zanip Kaldabov, Fazio Azka, Amber Jr., Ang Mohoza, Abdul Ghani, Isabeli Pedro, Giovanni Santos, and last but not least, Mitz de Guzman. Thank you so much for subscribing. And for those of you who are new here, if you'd like to get notified, hit that bell so you'll get notified with whenever we release new content. So today, we are joined by Andrew Mewborn. He helped Outreach grow from $1 million to $125 million as a growth expert. He's also responsible for building a community on LinkedIn called Brand 30. And if that ain't enough, he has two other revenue streams called LIMELITE and Good Morning Job Board. So today, he's going to help us learn how to build a strong LinkedIn community with multiple revenue streams while working full-time at Outreach. Please help me welcome Andrew Mewborn.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Love the sound effects, Zen. That is awesome. That is so awesome.
Wow, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely, Zen. Nice to be here. I'm joining y'all from Mexico. So
Anything
it's great
fun that you've done lately in Mexico?
what have I done? I eat great food. Always be eating tacos, right? ABE is what I like to say. And then surfing, lots of surfing. I love being in the water. I love fishing. Love just anything in the ocean. So, that's and lots of sun, right?
Yeah.
But put your sunscreen on, of course, because you
Of
don't want
course.
to get too burnt.
Yeah, well, you woke up pretty early this morning because we were at a meeting, but you also said you got some waves. What time does Andrew Mewborn wake up every morning to catch the big waves?
5:30 in the morning, actually. But yeah, that's not to be like, oh, wake up early, hustle. It's just for me. That's the time where I can have like my Andrew time. That's the time where I get up, I can write for an hour. No distractions before the notifications, before the phone starts buzzing. And then once that's up and the sun starts to rise, an hour of exercise, maybe 2 hours, just depends on the day's schedule. Out on the waves. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's a typical morning.
Oh, God, so many productive things and so much stuff to cover today. So let's start from your childhood. How did you become such a beast? Yeah.
Oh, wow. Childhood. You want
Yeah,
to
I want to
start
know,
there? Okay.
because I want to know, all your inspirations. Like, how did you become such a
Okay.
freaking awesome person? So let's start there.
So how did I become an awesome person? Let's see. Childhood, I grew up in Southern California. I grew up with a single mom, and she's from Mexico, but immigrated to the U.S. when she was pretty young. And then growing up with a single mom, she was also always hustling. I saw that she was always pushing me to hustle. And
Wow.
that's where my hustle comes from. It stems all from that. And yeah, grew up you know, I in a Mexican neighborhood in San Bernardino, California. Super grateful for that experience. Yeah, like Spanish was just as prominent as English, right?
Habla
So,
español?
um, sí, hablo español también. Yeah, yeah,
Ay,
yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, yeah, speak Spanish, which is fun. So, that's my background. I really grew up in like a Latino community. And once again, seeing my mom hustle, and I would start one of my first businesses was my mom's an X-ray technician, so she's in like the dental field, and had her own X-ray lab. And you know, what I realize is that what's funny is that people that work at dentist offices love to drink soda, believe it or not.
It's hilarious. 90s, it's a
So
90s thing.
yeah, right, right. We go to Costco. I'd buy crates of soda, and then I'd sell the sodas to them for $1, right? And make like what, 50
You're
cents on each
flipping.
can or whatever. Exactly. And I
Mm.
think I was like 12 years, 11, 12, something like that. So that was my version of the lemonade stand. Um, but what I wish I was doing is accepting Bitcoin at that time, or crypto, right? Um, I don't know if you've seen that like photo online that's like these kids that were accepting Bitcoin for their lemonade stand like 10 years ago. I thought that was
No.
phenomenal, and now they're like
Yeah.
multimillionaires, right? Like how
Wow.
crazy is that? Yeah, so
So,
smart move. I wish I did that
yeah.
in payments, but didn't think of that at the time. Their parents were smart.
Okay, so from the lemonade stand to outreach,
Hmm.
how did you find outreach? How
Yeah.
did you like get land this amazing role at outreach? And then walk us through like the trajectory. I mean, this was like a more than a hockey stick growth. It was just
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
vertical growth.
Yeah. So couple things here. So I had actually been living in South America, in Chile, in Santiago, Chile, with my best friend. And after
Mm,
college, we decided to move to Chile to start a solar business. We were in something called Startup Chile. It's pretty much like the Y Combinator of South America. Um, and so while we were in Chile, we were, starting the solar business, but while we were creating product, we were also having to sell product. So, and I was doing selling along with, my best
damn,
friend
and
slash
making it. Mm.
co-founder. Yeah. And so, um, my background's in engineering. So what I said is, oh, I started doing the
Mm.
sales thing. I was like, hey, this whole process is so inefficient. And, my mind works in efficiencies and systems. And I was like, doing this whole process is, quite frankly, it's like repetitive. It's boring. I can't believe people do it this way. So after our Chile experience, I came back to the US and I said,
Mhm.
okay, I either want to build something to fix this problem myself, or I want to join an early startup that's working on that. And I had a friend um, that I was chatting with, and he said, "Hey, you should go check out this outreach company. They're doing what you actually have discussed, like that whole inefficiency in the sales process." And I was like, no way. So I checked them out. I was like, oh my gosh. And they're based in Seattle, where I was at the time. And so that, it was the perfect kind of combo of what I was looking to do in life slash what other people were doing. And at the time it wasn't like I knew it was going to be a unicorn, right? I was like, I just see the problem in the space, and I'm like, this is going to be huge because I just encountered that, right? I just went through that experience, and like it needs to be fixed. So for me, it was like my mission at the time, right? It was like, I need to be a part of this, just no matter what. I think the founders are the right people here. They've got a great team so far. So yeah, joined. It was early, and then started to take off, which so definitely got lucky, right? Did not see it coming. I mean, couldn't predict it, but yeah, for sure, very fortunate and got pretty lucky.
Mm. What are the, from your perspective, you think, what do you think are the three guiding principles that led Outreach's growth from that whole 1 million to 125 million in like less than 5 years or 7 years?
Yeah, like 5-ish years.
Yeah.
Guiding principles. I think this comes down to the values of the company, right? Like,
Mm.
there's a few. Those guiding principles are one, like, one with the customer. And what that
Ah.
means is just like a huge amount of weight on the customer, the buyer experience. That's huge. Second, it's hungry craftsmanship is one of the values, and I think
Mm.
that um, is a big part of it, right? Like we were always an outbound machine, and
Yeah.
we never, relied on inbound. We
Yeah.
said, we sell a product that's for outbound. We're going to do outbound. So a majority of our
Right.
business was built on outbound prospecting. So that was another thing. And then the last one, which is I think one of the most cliche, is honesty. And that honesty, what I mean by that is like being honest where you're at, right, in the process, like not fooling yourself. Hey, here,
Mm.
this is great when it's really not great. This is, you know understanding that it could always be better, I believe, right? And being honest with yourself, like, hey,
Yeah.
I don't think this is right, versus just brushing it off and saying, we don't need to worry about it, or it's fine when it's not fine. And that stuff starts to build, right? That stuff starts to, like, if you say that enough times and say, oh, it's fine, and you
Mm.
always say there's enough of that, it starts to build up, and then you run into some huge issues. Not to say we don't have any issues, like it's a business, there's always problems, right? There's always, you're peeling back the onion, of risk, right? Trying to get to the middle, and as you peel it back, that onion still continues to grow. So, um, that is, I would say, three guiding principles there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow. That's funny you say that because last night I had a conversation with a good friend of mine about this
Hmm.
whole peeling the onion and, being passive about certain things like, oh, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, but really it's not okay. And it's so crazy. Yeah, that is applicable to life and also building your startup too. You can't
Yeah.
be passive about
Yeah.
problems. You have to solve them right away and be honest. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's almost an art, right? Like you also can't worry about every single thing.
Mm,
It's like you have to pick your battles. We've
yeah.
all heard that, but
It's
like,
so hard though.
it's also
Yeah.
picking your battles and making sure you're picking the right ones.
Oh.
So yeah, that, I mean, absolutely applicable to life as well. 100%.
Oh, we have someone saying hello here, 0 to 20.
Okay.
Yeah, he's saying woohoo, two big time hustlers. He's saying I'd never have guessed Andrew grew up in a Latino community. That's so awesome.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
this
absolutely
is
did.
Wayne, by
Yeah.
the way. He's on vacay right now, so he's tuning in
Oh, what's
from
up,
his
Wayne?
car,
How's it
I
going,
think.
Wayne? What's up, Wayne?
Awesome.
Uh, yeah.
So I want to ask this question because at
Hmm.
Outreach, do they allow your employees to work on side hustles? And what do you think about that? Like working full time and working with your side hustles, and like how do you balance that out? Like, is that okay? Would
Yeah.
you?
I mean, Outreach started as pretty much a side hustle itself. So it's in the DNA of
Mm,
Outreach, right? So if you think about Outreach, well, it was a side hustle to another business the founders were trying to start. They were, long story short, they were trying to start a recruiting tool, right? Or build a
right,
recruiting tool of some sort.
right.
Um, then they built Outreach on the side to actually email recruiters and their engineers, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so they built a system, that being Outreach, in order to get recruiters onto
Recruit.
their platform.
Yeah.
And what people started to say is, hey, I don't want your recruiting platform. I want whatever it is you're building to be so persistent with me. And so
Mm-hmm.
that kind of clicked. One of their advisors slash friends was like, you should sell this to salespeople. That's what you should do.
Smart.
And then boom, that clicked. That's where they found Outreach. So it wasn't this idea of, hey, we're going to build this thing, it's going to be a unicorn company. It came out of building something on the side for their actual business. Um,
That
so
makes
going
total
back to
sense.
that, it's in the DNA, right? So it's more accepted, as again, as long as you're getting your day-to-day work done, that's
Mm-hmm.
fine, right? And that's, on the company. But my perspective is, why not build something on the side? Um, as long as, once again, it's not affecting your day job. But secondly, like if you're building something on the side, you're learning, and
Mm.
you're learning, you're getting more skills. That
Yeah.
provides more value to your actual employer. So the reframe there is, why would you not want your employees to study up on the latest and greatest things and understand it? Because
Yeah.
they're going to take that knowledge and deploy it to your customers, right? They're going to take that knowledge and help make your business better or add their perspective. So when we talk about diversity of thought, you know, a big buzzword in
Mm.
companies, like that is promoting diversity. That's allowing people to go out, figure out, you know, how things are done, ways they're done, and bring it to the business, right? And without the company having to pay anything, right?
That's awesome.
So that's, you know, that's my thought on it. Any companies that don't like it, I think they're just a little behind, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In a sense. So
They're
yeah, and it's scary for some people, unfortunately, because not all companies are like that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Someone just joined in. Josh Harkis, author of Closing Culture, is here. He said, "Love this. Great points, Andrew. Keep it going." All
Yeah, what's
right.
up? What's up?
What's
Let's
up,
go.
Josh
Let's go.
Harkis? Let's
Hey,
go to
Josh
the next
Hargis.
question.
All right,
All
what's
right,
up?
ready? So this is
Hmm.
the whole message here is how do you build a LinkedIn community? Let's talk about that. Give us some advice, and talk about brand
Oh,
30,
ooh.
right? Like the
Yeah,
inspiration,
yeah.
the journey. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it all starts. So, how do we build a community? If we talk about that, let's talk about the pieces there. And I think the first thing to focus on, and you're going to hear this everywhere, is, you know, build an audience, right? Build your
Right.
following. So,
How?
right, how do you do that? How do you do that? So first things first, it's all mindset, right? You got to get in the right mindset. And what you have to understand, and before I get into pick a niche and all the stuff you've already heard,
Mm.
what
Mm.
people don't talk about is that you need to encourage yourself. You need to first get in the mindset of understanding that what you're going to get into is having to work on your consistency muscle, work on your
Mm.
confidence, and understand that everything you post or create is just an experiment, right? And you're testing and you're going to use data to understand what's working and what's not. And you have, when you change your mindset like that, you understand that, hey, whenever I post something, it's not like, do people like me or do people not? That's the first thing we go to. Like, are
Mm.
people going to like this or people not? It's not about that, right? That's the legacy brand building, or building an
Right.
audience. The new world is, let me put something out there and get feedback on whether that works or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because we all have knowledge, right? We all have something to say. You know, imagine yourself 2 years ago, is what I always tell people. And write for yourself 2 years ago. What have you learned in those 2 years that you can now teach to other people, right? And believe it or not, it doesn't have to be anything monumental. What's obvious to you is not obvious to
Just
people 2 years behind you, right? And that's what gets people over the hump once they realize that, right?
mm-hmm.
Sometimes some of my best, you know, posts on LinkedIn are the most, like, to me, the most obvious and the most basic. I'm like, this is everyday knowledge, but they do the best
Yeah.
because it resonates with all, you know, the most people in that way. So um that's the first piece, right? Is the mindset. Then if we get into and that's 80% of it, to be
Mm.
honest. If you can
Yeah.
write, and if you can, you know, look at other people's formats, and know how to gather inspiration from other posts, you'll do just fine. So that's the mindset. Now tactics, pick a niche, right? Like that's number one. When you pick a niche, if you're in medical sales, don't talk about sales. Talk about the problem that your product solves, right? And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's a big mistake that we see, a lot of people on platforms, you know, LinkedIn specifically. If we're talking about that, um, they'll be selling a solution, but they'll talk about sales, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, look,
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on your goal, right? But if your goal is to simply build an audience, yes. If your goal is to build an audience of potential clients, then you want to talk about the problem that you're solving, right?
Right.
Um, so that's where you have to sit down and think a little bit strategically about your niche, right? And it starts with picking your goal. before you pick your niche even. So step 0 is picking your goal, right? What do you want to get out of growing your audience, right? For me, going to brand 30 here, I wanted to grow my audience so that I can create a quicker feedback loop to test the market for specific ideas that I think are needed, right? With the bigger
Interesting.
audience, you have a bigger feedback loop or a faster feedback loop, right? So the more followers you have, the faster feedback you get. Hey, I want to do this. Do you like this? Yes or no? Then you have multiple more data points on yes, 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 no, 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 right? So I did that, for the latest product I created called Brand 30, which helps you start building your personal brand online in 30 days using LinkedIn. So I said, hey, I want to put a community together that helps people build their brand. Would you be in? And you got a bunch of people saying yes, message them, started the community, had them sign up, boom, off to the races, right? And it sounds like an overnight success story, but it's not,
Yeah.
because I put in, I would say I've been posting on LinkedIn for 2 years, but I got serious about it about 8 months ago, January of this year. So, up until, and then I launched in June. So I was grinding from, January to June to build an audience. And then at that point, I went to, all right, let me try and release this and get some feedback on if this is useful or not. And so that's how Brand 30 was born, right?
So you're using LinkedIn as a way to create this MVP. You're just talking to people the whole time for Brand 30.
Exactly. So you can now, exactly. So you use your audience, then you can build from your audience, right? So you can build an audience, and then you can build a community, and then from that community, you can build other products. It's all part of the process, right? So you can build products for this community, and it's amazing because now you have a whole group of people that want to help each other, that are into that are going to be into your product if you know what you're building for them, obviously. But like we're going to build. I have an app called LIMELITE that's got about 3,000 users. And we're releasing the next version, but it's going to be exclusively the beta for a month for the Brand 30 community, right? So that we can use it, for video, right? Creating videos, click a button, record your screen, upload that video. That's one part of the platform. I won't go too much into detail, but we're building out for the Brand 30 community, all right? And so it's a great way if you want to build additional products, having that community to essentially, it honestly, it's a cheat code to life. Like building an audience, people, when they realize it, it's like a no-brainer. Why would I not do that? It's a currency, like by doing an audience, again, you create a feedback loop, but you have a currency of like, I can deploy something, sell something, build something, whatever, and now I have eyeballs watching. And attention today is a currency, right? Like people pay big money to get people's attention. I won't get too much into the creator economy, but like what we'll start seeing is that like businesses are going to start paying individuals just to create content for them and use their face and use their personality and use that. You're going to see that
it's
happening in B2C. You're going to, and then that's going to, whatever happens to B2C always goes to B2B, right? B2B is just slower to catch up, but you'll see that happening as well. So, if you're in sales, you can bet in the next 5 to 10 years, if you have a large audience and you're still in sales, if you're not building your own business, a business is going to pay you significantly more than someone that does not have an audience at all, right? You're going to start to see that. Look, you see it with influencers online. The influencers with more followers, they get paid more for a paid post, right? You're going to see that in B2B as well. And so that is the importance of really like growing an audience, because, some people say, well, I don't need to build a personal brand. Like I do just fine, right? It's thinking ahead of like, where's the world going? The world is going to a place where like getting people's attention is getting harder and harder and harder. And you think it's hard now, wait 5 years from now, right?
Imagine building a product for that.
Exactly. Oh, there you go, right? There you go. So it's all about, getting that attention so that you can sell your product, whether you're working for someone else or whether you build your own thing. So many benefits to it.
This is so smart. This is really smart. I'm not sure if you guys are getting this. I'm going to break it down real quick, okay? Because, oh man, it's blowing my mind. Okay. So back in the days, we'd have an idea, right? We'd build an alpha product, turn it into a beta product, launch it on Product Hunt, get all these feedback, and then sometimes you plateau and then wah, 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 startups will end pretty much 90% of them. And so right now what you're doing and what you're saying is that use LinkedIn as this machine to test every single day these LinkedIn posts and capture your audience, get the feedback so that you know exactly what problems to solve without even building an MVP, without building any alphas or these products. And it's blowing my mind because I fell in that other bracket. Like I have a product. And we didn't build, like, we didn't talk about this LinkedIn post. If anything, the concept of stealth, right? Like stealth startup, and you're hiding and you're just trying to do everything in behind closed curtains. And so what you're telling me is so powerful. And I wish I knew this 2 years ago. Andrew, you have no idea. Oh my God, I would have saved so much heartbreak and so much money.
That's exactly it. And you know what people do wrong, just to summarize, is like, and we've all done it, right? Like I've done this too. They try and create a product, and then they try and find a market for that product, versus finding a market and then creating a product for that market. So entrepreneurs are just like they study markets, right? People that want to build things, creators, they study markets. They study that and they say, what does that market need? What's an untapped niche or sliver of that one massive market? Or what's a big sliver of that untapped market? So yeah, that's, and with that, with the audience, again, you can test the market way easier than other people, right? That's the cheat code. And I hope that helps everyone understand the importance.
It's going to save you a lot of money, a lot of heartaches, because there's a lot of assumptions when you're building your product. I know, I'm like guilty of this.
Yeah, it's distribution, right? Distribution, that's what's key today. It's no longer like, hey, I'm going to build a great product and then it's going to sell itself. There's no way. Like, you can have the best product in the world, but if you can't distribute that product efficiently, effectively, it doesn't matter, right? And so, again, businesses like in B2C really realize this, right? That's why influencer marketing is huge, huge, huge today, and it's just on first base. And then they're in B2B, like they haven't even got off the home plate yet, right? Like in terms of influencer marketing. So LinkedIn is, it's not as saturated as Twitter, as other platforms right now either. You can still get huge reach. Imagine you write something and it's seen by 1,000 people. It's like you're standing on stage and speaking to 1,000 people, right? Like, and people are like, oh, it takes a long time. Say, how long would you take to prepare if you were on stage for 1,000 people? Probably 8 hours. So in the grand scheme of things, 20 minutes to write a post to be seen by thousands is nothing.
Yeah. You also shared this one great sentence in our meeting. I have it in a quote somewhere, and I'm printing out all these quotes that you're dropping in our meetings. But one of them is like the risk or something. Like the risk now is never as low, but the reward is like sky's the limit or something. Tell us about that mindset.
Oh yeah.
It blew my mind, and I was like, oh my God.
Honestly, I'm trying to think of what I said, because when I get on a roll, I say some things.
You didn't record it though. I know. I was like, record this. You're saying all the like beautiful things right now.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I think I remember. I think I remember what you said. Okay. So it was something like, okay, now is the time to take a risk, because when you post, if it doesn't do well, people won't remember it. Right?
Yeah, and if it does well, they will, or if it is good, they will remember.
Yeah, so it's the time to take or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. And it's true, right? Like, if you post something today and it sucks, no one's going to be like, oh, you wrote that post, 3 months ago that really sucked. No, if you're consistently doing it for 3 months, or even 30 days, that's what Brand 30 is about, right? Post once every day for 30 days. If you do that, the first thing that happens is your mindset shifts. And that's the main goal of Brand 30. It's to get people over the hump of, I can do something consistently. If you do anything for 30 days, it's going to change your life, right? And so, one, because you're testing your mindset. And so that's the first thing. And secondly, the beauty of doing something like that, why we picked writing is because writing is the first principles for, building blocks for creating anything online, right? Whether it's presentations, whether it's LinkedIn
Sales,
posts, Twitter
yeah.
posts, anything. So if you can understand that, you can create anything. And so the goal of Brand 30 is not for you to become like this expert copywriter and LinkedIner. It's for you to actually go create more things in the world, because now you have the foundation to go and do that.
Someone texted me. They put mic drop in a text, which is so funny.
Oh,
I'm like,
really?
go
That's
into
funny. That's
YouTube or
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
yeah.
They're watching us and they're sending the comments through text.
Oh,
Okay,
that's amazing.
we have 1 minute left. Can we go a little bit over, like 5 minutes more?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
okay,
Let's do it.
okay.
Let's do it. Yeah. I
All
don't
right.
have a call till 1, so as long as
Oh,
we
me
want to
too.
go, let's do it.
Okay,
Yeah. Okay.
okay.
Let's go.
Um,
Let's go.
let's talk about the multiple revenue streams, right? So
Yeah.
the Russian proverb, if you chase two rabbits, you won't catch any of them, right? And that teaches us, hey,
Hmm.
you have to focus on one thing, otherwise you might fail. So how in the heck does
Yeah.
Andrew Mewborn balance Brand 30, Limelight, Good Morning Job Board, and work full time at Outreach Lake? What is this
Great question.
mindset all
Great.
about?
Yeah, great question. This is a it depends question. And when I speak to this, no, disclaimer, like I've been trying to build products online since I was a teenager, right? Or I have been building products online since I was a teenager. So I have quite a bit of experience on how to launch something, how to, what needs to get done. And so when I have these multiple projects, what I can do is I have more experience or a sense on what's next there, or like what needs to happen, right? Because I've been doing it for such a long time. I've always been fascinating with the internet and building online. So that's just the first disclaimer, right? But secondly, how do I manage it all? Um, you know, it I'm always busy. Let's just say that for sure. I'm still always busy. And I definitely have to, the most cliche thing ever is do time management, but wake up early, all that stuff. Like I get most of what I need to get done early in the morning, right? That's one of my things. That's my, power hours, I would say. Um, but how do I manage all that and why I have so many projects? Let me tell you why. They're all small bets, right? All of these projects are small bets. It is it is very difficult today to build a product and have it explode. But each one of these things I create is a small bet or still a test against the market. It's all a test. Like for me, it's a game,
Yeah.
right? This is all Limelight started as a spotlight on a screen, and me and one of my best friends saying, "Can we sell this where you hit a hotkey and put a spotlight on the screen?" And it turns out you could. So guess what? That's just been running for a year. And it's a very simple product, and it's minimal, but it's impactful. And so with that was our small bet, and we started from the basics. We didn't try to create this big, massive, crazy product and say,
Right.
here you go, everyone, go figure out this product. We know it will do this. No, we started basic. And then now what we've said is, okay, that worked. That was our small bet. What's next? And next is Limelight V2, right? Good Morning Job Board. I said, okay, there's a ton of people looking for jobs right now. I'm getting hit up in the DMs.
Oh yeah.
Right? How can I automate this or make it
Yeah.
easier? And so I said, all right, goodmorningjobboard.com. Just put it all there. And if anyone wants me to know if anyone SDRs are hiring, go there. Post a job. You can pay to post a job, whatever. And it was a small bet. When I started it, I didn't know it was going to work. And then it started to work. Okay. It fully runs itself. Like people post on there.
So
It
it's
does all
passive?
that. So what's that?
Is it passive income?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not a ton, but for me, it really wasn't like about making the money on it either, right? But yeah, it makes some income. Um, and then Brand 30, that, brand 30 was essentially me wanting to get a bunch of like-minded thinkers together to essentially get value out of these products and help make these
Yeah.
products better, right? So I took some small bets. Now with this community, I can take more bets because I have
Mm-hmm.
like very, very direct feedback, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when it comes to managing stuff, how do I automate as much of it as possible, right? So that's a big one. And I'm like a engineering, nerd.
Nice.
Half of me is a, seller. So I figure out
Wow, what a
how to put pieces
combination.
together
Mm.
to automate as much as I can, to fix the issues. So that's what I do. Yeah, and I know it's not an easy answer.
It
And
makes
that's because
total
it's not
sense.
easy.
No, wait, okay, wait, you have a technical background and also you
Yeah.
understand sales and marketing and growth. And so
Hmm.
you're a very unique breed. Actually, our CEO at Localize is the same way, CTO
Oh
and
wow.
CEO. And so he's
Okay.
able to solve all these very, very complex problems. Before I ask my last question, okay,
Let's hear it. Let's hear
tell our audience where to find you.
it. Oh wow. Oh wow. Okay. Andrew Mewborn, LinkedIn. Just grab me there. Let's connect on LinkedIn. Zen's pushing me to create a YouTube channel. I think I
Yes.
might at some
Oh, you
point.
should. Yes.
Need to, yeah. So I might create one at some point. It'd be fun. We'll need to figure out what I'm talking about though, in my topic. Again, that's going to take testing, right?
Oh
It's going
my
to be
God.
testing the market.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, your meetings are so engaging. The way you like you, the format, everything, the lessons that you teach us. I'm taking notes. I'm literally, I'm
Oh,
on the
really?
side. Yes, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's great. And if I'm walking around, I'm like taking notes on my phone because it's so
Oh,
inspiring. All the
wow.
things that you share. That
Okay.
is your YouTube channel right there, Andrew, because you'll hit 4,000 hours so quickly and monetize that channel if you were to live stream it the way we are right now.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to take notes from you, Zen. You're gonna be like my YouTube consultant, so I'll have to get you helping me out there.
I got you.
Um,
I got you.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, it's been a pleasure, Zen. Thanks for everyone listening in. Huge pleasure. If you have any questions, shoot me a DM on LinkedIn. Join Brand 30 if you want to like hear more of me talking.
Yeah. No, wait, Andrew,
Some of
one
it's
last
good,
question
some
before
of
we
it's
go.
not good, but
Tell
yeah.
our audience, how does Andrew close deals? How do you win partnerships? What's your one tip that you can give our audience right now before we head off?
Take an improv class. That's my
Yeah.
one tip.
Yeah.
Take an
I
improv
can
class.
see that.
Yep.
Mhm.
That's my one tip for life. I
Yeah.
would say not for anything. Take an improv class. I did it for 4 years. Um, and it really did change my life because it teaches you so much. Mindset, like I said, that's the biggest piece.
Mhm.
Creating stories, working with others,
Getting
collaboration,
comfortable. Yeah.
getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. That's a big one. Yeah. Managing your mind, right? So take an improv class.
All
I
right.
don't care if you're an engineer in sales, whatever. Take an improv class.
There you have it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Andrew, thank you so much. You are amazing. I can't wait to learn from you. And yeah, thank you. And everyone, please say hi to Andrew. Follow him. It is linkedin.com/a Mewborn.
Yep. We'll see you on there, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.